What's up, everybody? This is the Absolute Answer, Nick Cutler, personal trainer, professional wrestler, amateur bodybuilder, OnlyFans model, Team Gaspari athlete. And guys, I know it's late, but I just had a ridiculous conversation and interaction on Twitter with a friend and one of his followers, which then moved over into text message and ended what I thought was a very good friendship between myself and the owner of the Monster Factory, Mr. Danny Cage. Now, before I get into the topic of the conversation, please, if you're watching this on Facebook, follow me on my other forms of social media. That is Absolute Answer on Instagram, Cutler Coalition on Twitter, NCUTLER8869 on Snapchat, merchandise at ProWrestlingTees.com/Cutler Coalition, supplementation at GaspariNutrition.com, promo code NHarmon20 for 20% off. If you're watching this on YouTube, please like and subscribe and share the video. Drop your questions, comments, or concerns in the comments section. If you see me talking to somebody and you're watching this on YouTube, I'm filming this on Facebook Live, so I'm not I am crazy, but not because you think I'm talking to myself, because I'm answering comments that are coming up on Facebook Live. I'm going to try to keep this video between 10 and 15 minutes, but it depends on how long I ramble and how many people actually tune in and ask questions. I'm good, Dave. How are you? I've got my nighttime tea brewing. I haven't actually drank that in quite some time. I'm not really sure why, but I figured, what the hell, I'm going to go ahead and have some and sip on that while we discuss what happened between myself and the owner of the Monster Factory, Mr. Danny Cage. I'm trying to find my tea. There, I believe that's it. Is that my tea? That's not my tea. Where's my nighttime tea? Aha, here we go. I'm gonna set this right there. Here we go. How's the new house coming along? The new house is coming along fantastic. No issues, nothing. It's fantastic. I love it. So thank you very much for asking. All right. My water is boiling. I've already taken 10 milligrams of melatonin. This is chamomile, Tilia estrella, and valerian. I had to make sure it didn't have any more melatonin in it, so that's actually one of the reasons why I stopped taking the nighttime tea for quite some time, was because I had actually, my wife found a melatonin supplement that actually had the chamomile and lemon balm and valerian and everything already in the supplement. So I did not want to take the nighttime tea and the melatonin, for the simple fact that, for the simple fact that I wanted to be able to wake up in the morning. But now I'm got my original melatonin gummy back, which is strictly just melatonin. So don't got to worry about not being able to wake up in the morning. Plus I've been pretty good about waking up anyway. So where's my sweet and lows? Here they are. Guys, don't worry about artificial sweeteners, okay? They're not going to give you cancer. There are a lot more dangerous things in the world than artificial sweeteners. So, I'm sure you guys alluded to the fact that the title of the video is the disagreement that I got into with another friend on Twitter, who happened to be Danny Cage. For those of you that aren't familiar with who he is, Danny Cage is the owner of the Monster Factory. He is someone who I once called a very good friend. He is someone who I have learned a lot from and who I respect as far as his accomplishments in the pro wrestling business. He is a man who went out of his way to help me as a performer, and I called him a friend. Danny, as anybody who knows him will confirm, is a very vocal and very outspoken individual about what he believes in. Excuse me 1 second while I get some ice for this tea, because I don't want to wait for it to completely cool down. As I was saying, he's a very outspoken and very vocal individual about what he believes in. And he can very easily come across as crass and rude and just simply not willing to listen to other people's opinions. For reasons I'm not going to get into, he had actually already blocked me on Facebook. Still had access to him via text message, still followed me on Twitter. Come to think of it, I think he still follows me on Instagram. I'm going to have to check and see if he blocked me on there too. But I digress. Again, he had already blocked me on Facebook for a separate disagreement that we had. And we had actually discussed this after the fact and kind of squashed things and came to an understanding. And then just tonight, I came across the thread on Danny's Twitter where he was alluding to the fact that he was making fun of people who say that they're not going to take the COVID-19 vaccine because there's not enough research behind it, we don't know what's in it, etc., etc., etc. And those same people will take a pre-workout powder. In essence, saying that we'll take a pre-workout powder with no lab testing and not knowing what's in it and yada yada blah blah blah, but we won't take a vaccine, and pretty much calling these people idiots. And in this thread on Twitter, there were individuals who were shitting on the pre-workout category and going on about how pre-workouts are nothing but things to give people a heart attack, and people take them to look cool because that's the cool thing to do in the supplement industry. Oh, I take a pre-workout, blah, 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 and this and this and that and that, and that there is no real benefit to them. Now, I am not going to get into why these statements are false. Anybody that's watching this has heard me discuss pre-workout powders, the ingredients that go in them, what these ingredients do, etc., etc., etc. If you have not heard that and you want to, you can reach out to me separately and we can discuss things. What I want to discuss is why comparing a natural pre-workout supplement to a man-made vaccine is like comparing apples to oranges, which is pretty much what I said to Danny and everybody in this thread. When you buy a pre-workout powder, any pre-workout supplement, any supplement actually in the supplement industry, you are absolutely correct in the sense that there are no lab tests done on pre-workout powders as a supplement, which means when Gaspari Nutrition developed Super Pump Aggression, we did not do lab tests with Super Pump Aggression. What we did was we took ingredients that have been lab tested and proven to do certain things in animals and in humans, and we took those ingredients and we put them together in the pre-workout. And it was obviously formulated in a lab, and people taste tested it and blah 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 yada yada. But as far as clinical trials and stuff, no, we didn't do that. Why? Because it's not mandatory to do so in the supplement industry. But to say that we threw together just a bunch of shit that nobody knows what it does and it's dangerous to take it, this and this and that and that, is completely not true. When people are talking about the COVID-19 vaccine, and this is coming from someone who's vaccinated, I can't look at the label of a COVID-19 vaccine and see every single ingredient that is in it. I can't. A COVID-19 vaccine is developed in a lab. It is man-made. It is not of nature. Anything that is found in a pre-workout supplement can be found in a plant or in a food. It comes from nature, natural ingredients that human beings can get from their diet. We can't get them in supplemental quantities, which is why we use supplementation, to be able to get them in doses that will boost our performance. So to compare those two things, you're not comparing two of the same thing. It would be one thing if you were comparing two different vaccines or two different pre workout powders. But when you are comparing a man made vaccine that was produced artificially in a lab and designed to change how our bodies react to certain things, where we cannot read the label, where the manufacturers cannot be held liable if there are any sort of health consequences, and you're comparing that to a supplement which clearly lists all of the ingredients on the label, where all of those ingredients come from nature, and where there is recourse if the product does harm, especially when taken at its intended doses as labeled on the supplement facts panel. You are comparing two things that are not alike. And I simply pointed this out to Danny, and his response was, no, they're the same, so fuck off. And then he blocked me. I articulated a well thought out, factually based argument that explained my viewpoint to someone I called a friend, and his response was, you're wrong, fuck off, and he blocked me. What kind of a world do we live in when not just strangers, but friends cannot articulate a difference of opinion to each other without one of them getting so butthurt and upset that they tell someone who they claim to be a friend to fuck off and block them on social media? And what's more, yes, my cup says I love her tits. My wife got this for me, and I do, in fact, love my wife's tits. Not only that, but after he blocked me on Twitter, I took the conversation to text message. And in so many words, I said, you know, Danny, I have always stuck up for you. Regardless of who was saying anything about you, I have always had your back because you have always been a good friend to me, and you have always looked out for me. But you have gone so far off the deep end that you can't handle hearing a difference of opinion from someone that you claim to be a friend without telling them to fuck off and blocking them on social media. That's it, man. Like, you're gone. And his response was, don't say dumb shit and you won't get blocked. The dumb shit that I said can be backed up with actual evidence. You are basing your argument on the validity of your personal feelings towards the matter. And facts don't give a fuck about your feelings. I care about your feelings, which is why I articulated what I said the way that I said it, so as to not insult you or step on your toes. And your response was to tell me to fuck off, which tells me that you don't give a fuck about my feelings, even though you said that you were a friend. And then he did this cute little thing where he tried to flip the argument around and say that by saying that I stuck up for him, I was saying that because I was only sticking up for him for what he could potentially offer me, so I showed my true colors, so now he's going to block my number too. Which in reality just means that he's pretty much tired of me shattering holes in his stupid emotion-based opinions with actual facts and data, and he just doesn't want to be questioned with reality anymore, so he's going to continue to live in this fantasy world that he lives in, whereas he is always right and never admits that he is wrong, or can even accept anybody else's opinion, because he's one of those weak, fragile human beings that is unable to leave their safe place in their own mind and understand that the entire world is not going to think and feel the same way as them. And it's a damn shame that we have come to a point in society where we're literally having to pick and choose who we say things to avoid losing relationships in our life. For matters as simple as opinions about what's going on in the world today that has nothing to do with us. This is far beyond Nick Cutler and Danny Cage having a disagreement and Danny Cage blocking Nick Cutler. This extends into the bigger picture here. Why can't we as human beings accept the fact that different people with different experiences are going to have a different mindset? And because theirs does not align with ours, that does not make you or them any better than the other. It doesn't. Because I was willing to get a vaccine simply because of the fact that I wanted to go on a fucking cruise, not because I think the vaccine works or because I think I'm protecting other people or because I think I'm protecting myself. That could be true. It could not be true. I don't fucking know. There's not enough fucking evidence. But I do know that the cruise industries are pretty much expecting everybody to be vaccinated, and I want to go on a damn cruise. So the first chance I got the Johnson & Johnson one and done, and so did my wife. But that doesn't mean that I think I'm better than somebody else because they choose to not get the vaccine. My best friend since 7th grade refuses to get the vaccine. I don't think I'm better than him. I don't think he wants my grandma to freaking die if my grandma was still alive. I don't think that he wishes ill will upon anybody. He just simply views things differently than I do. So why we as human beings have gotten so convoluted and toxic that we refuse to accept anybody's difference of opinions except our own, it's just mind-boggling to me. And it's actually very sad. It's sad that I can't educate somebody as to what a pre-workout actually does without being told that I was triggered and bullying somebody. It's sad that I can't say, I don't really agree with your viewpoint here because it seems as if you're trying to compare apples and oranges, and here's why, without being told to fuck off. It is a sad state of affairs when the entire world operates in this manner. And it upsets me. Did I have any side effects with the shot I got? I did not. Well, actually, no, I take that back. My shoulder was very sore. I got the Johnson & Johnson before the recall and got it in my left delt, and it was very difficult. Like, I would barely start to raise my arm, and I would feel the tenderness and soreness in my muscle tissue just from lifting my arm about this high. You're talking to a guy who does performance-enhancing drugs and sticks 1.5-inch long needles in his ass, and they don't bother me, but this little tiny needle that they used for that damn vaccine rendered my left arm frickin' useless for about a day. But that was it. My wife got the vaccine the week after I did, and she got it around, I think, like 10:30 or 11 o'clock in the morning, something like that. And around 7 or 8 o'clock that night, she started complaining that she had a really, really bad headache. So she was going upstairs to lay down, and eventually I went up there and laid down next to her. And when I laid down next to her, I put my arm over her, and she was burning up, hot, had to have at least a 100-degree fever. And I tried to wake her up and tell her, and she was just, out. She was sleeping. And she woke up in the morning and felt absolutely fine, as if nothing had happened. So, and we've both been fine since then. Where are you sitting? I know in the living room, but I'm sitting at the kitchen table. So you got my Funkos back there. There's the TV. I'm sitting right here at the kitchen table. My phone propped up against a water bottle with my coffee cup. Hey, dude, we disagreed last week and we're still friends. What do you know? It is possible to disagree and still be friends. You see more in 2021. In very rare cases with very real individuals, and I'm glad for people like you. I've always had much love and respect for you. Don't run into you enough. You're good people. But it's a shame that the majority of the world is not like that. It's their way or the highway. And I've never operated that way, and I refuse to operate that way. There are 3 things in this world that I refuse to have a difference of opinion with when it comes to friends: racism, child molesters, and bigotry. Those 3 things. There is no ifs, ands, or buts about it with those 3 things. But as far as whether or not someone takes a fucking vaccine or not, I don't give a shit. So it's sad. And it does bother me. I really consider Danny to be a friend, and he has helped me a lot in the pro wrestling industry. And don't get me wrong, I haven't been interested in what he says that he can help people do for quite some time now. I do not want to be a full-time professional wrestler. I want to be a full-time dad and a part-time professional wrestler. So the things that he always touts that he can do for people if they come to the Monster Factory is not something that I'm even interested in anymore. I just wanted to keep him around as a friend. And for him to insinuate that I not only used him this entire time for what he could potentially offer me, which is kind of insulting to me, like, fuck the work that I put in. But to insinuate that I used him this entire time and that he could tell me to fuck off and just drop me at the drop of a hat when I considered him to be one of my close friends in the wrestling business, a friend in the wrestling business. I don't have a lot of friends in the wrestling business. I have a lot of acquaintances. Danny was someone who I considered a friend. Danny was someone who I drove to New Jersey for multiple times for shit freaking money to perform on his show and to support him in his camps, to help put money in his pocket and in the school's pocket and in his family's pocket. And that was what I got out of it, was being told to fuck off and stop saying dumb shit, which was articulated with factual based evidence, and then blocked on all forms of social media. So I got the same shot last week before it got recalled. I woke up the next morning with the worst cold chills. That sucks, man. And it sucks because we're being told that after this second shot to expect to feel these symptoms. So it's like, I feel like a lot of people are getting sick and then not doing anything about it because, oh, well, I was supposed to get sick after the second shot, so what am I supposed to do? And yeah. I just know that when I upload this to YouTube, the algorithm's gonna fuck it because I'm gonna have the word vaccine in my fucking title. But whatever. How else am I supposed to promote the video? So it says I got 9 people watching. Very few are talking, and I'm almost done with my tea, so we're gonna give this about 60 seconds longer. See if anybody else comes on to discuss anything. And we'll go from there. So in the meantime, guys, I'm going to close it out with, all my shills. So, again, you're watching this on YouTube, like, subscribe to the channel, drop a comment. Follow me on all forms of social media. Nick Cutler on Facebook, Cutler Coalition on Twitter, Absolute Answer on Instagram, NCUTLER8869 on Snapchat. OnlyFans is Absolute Answer. Merchandise at ProWrestlingTees.com/Cutler Coalition. Supplementation at GaspariNutrition.com using promo code NHarmon20 for 20% off. I do what I want. Yeah, me too. Just costs me friends a lot of the time. Bunch of bitches. What can you do? We're going to go in 10, 9, 8, my flesh watch, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Catch you later, guys.